It's been almost a year since the Nirbhaya case happened in New Delhi. Since then, rape laws have been strengthened, and there's been a lot of women's rights groups who've been very positive about the stronger rape laws. But it seems there are some men who are anxious about it. Why? We're going to talk about that in a moment, but we asked our viewers what they thought, and this is what they had to say.
There have been spate of rape cases in our country. Even little girls of 1 year age are not being spared. So a strict law is required to curb the rapists. If one is clear-hearted, there is no need to be afraid from the law. The law is meant for hardcore criminals.
And joining us now are Palash Mehrotra, author, as well as Shilpa Phadke, sociologist. Thank you, both of you, for joining us. Palash, let me start with you. Your article has been doing the rounds on the internet. Your article is spelling out the concerns that you say that men have with the new rape laws. Tell us, at a time when the demand overwhelmingly has been for stronger laws, given the kind of threat to women, why are men anxious?
Well, you know, Kajuri, the first thing is, I think the way this debate is being cast, I think it's extremely fascist, extremely unreasonable, because, you know, in any debate there is room for opinions, and what's happening here is it's a very, you know, it's exactly what George Bush said at the height of the war against Afghanistan. I mean, you know, it's post 9/11. It's, you know, so this is post Nirbhaya, and increasingly the way the debate is being cast, it's either you with us or you're against us. And I think that's very dangerous. I mean, if you go back to America, you know, when Green Day came out with an album called American Idiot, which was protesting against the war, or Dixie Chicks came out with an album which was protesting against the war, I mean, American radio stations refused to carry those songs, play those songs. I mean, I think that smacks of fascism, and so that's one of the reasons I just feel that, you know, if we're having a debate, one should have room for all kinds of opinions. So that's one.
Certainly, but you've contextualized the debate, fair enough, but why are, I mean, let's get to the meat of the matter. Why are men anxious?
Well, you know, I think you know, it's a, you know, the Tejpal case is really not a test case for if the high and mighty will suffer the same fate as those who are not. It's really a test case for these new laws, because, you know, I mean, a law is not a magic wand, you know. It's not this danda, you know, and so you know, we still don't know. There's a law that says that if a woman gives drunken consent, that will still not count as consent. Now, so what counts as consent? You know, I mean, it's a Saturday night, the guy's drunk, the girl's drunk. I mean, they end up in bed. Now, you know, and the girl said yes then. So then again, you know, after a week or after 10 years, the girl can still say that she was raped. Now, you know, this seems to be something grossly unfair about that.
Right. Now, of course, when we are talking about that, Shilpa, let's also put in perspective how laws are drafted and why these particular laws were drafted the way they were. Can you take us through it?
Yeah, what feminists have been doing for many years is trying to expand the definition of rape. In the earlier law, the definition of rape was penetration of the vagina by a penis, and therefore bottles, sticks, fingers, other things didn't count. And so this is a long battle we fought that, through the Justice Verma Committee report, finally has resulted in a law that's not perfect. Most laws aren't, but a law that has nonetheless expanded the definition of rape in ways that are more progressive, that allow for a greater possibility of achieving justice.
Right. Now, if we take what Shilpa has just described into account, Palash, and, you know, I think these are a lot of the concerns which have been being put forward in what you just described as the debate which didn't listen to both sides. Do you feel that there is a counter-argument to that which would satisfy the anxiety of the men that you talk about?
I think, again, I think there's too much emphasis being put on the criminal justice system as the solution to what is a much deeper problem. I'm sure, and I agree that it plays a role, but that's all it does. It plays a role. As I said, it's not a magic wand, or rather magic danda, which is going to solve everything. Have strict laws and we will have sexual equality. It doesn't happen. I worry that with this emphasis on stronger and more draconian laws, what we're doing is basically, playing into this deep authoritarian streak that always runs in India. Remember, Mein Kampf is Hitler's autobiography is one of the best sellers in India. It's read by young people. I mean, I still don't think that is the complete solution to the problem. Stricter laws, and I think we are laying too much emphasis on stricter laws as being the final solution to a very complex problem.
Shilpa, that was an interesting word which was used by Palash there. He described these laws as draconian. What would you say to that?
Yeah. Rather than sort of reference that, I'd like to say in some ways I do agree with him that the law is not the only solution. It's certainly one solution. And another thing that feminist activists have been arguing for is that let the victim or the survivor decide whether she wants to go to the law or she wants another solution. Absolutely. And this is something also that some activists who have been saying this in this particular case have come under fire for this. Yes. But the thing is that what is sexual harassment? The definition of sexual harassment is non-negotiable. And I think that what Palash Malhotra is suggesting is not so much that the law is draconian, but this idea that more things now are included under sexual harassment, or that the definition of rape itself has been widened, is draconian. And I think that is problematic.